Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 22 of the Jaycast podcast. I'm your host, Jay.
And Jay.
And we're going to just get right to it, man. What's up? What's on your mind, Jay? Talk to me.
Damn, man. That's the thing. There's not that much on my mind right now.
It's fine. It's fine. Look, interest rates, really quickly, guys. Some of you guys probably might have noticed that you're still not able to buy a home despite the fact that interest rates are high. Basically, just for those of you guys that don't know, the idea was if you increase the interest rates, the home prices should go down, but that's not the case. They're still super, super high. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't see the market cooling down any moment soon.
Why do you think why do you think it's not cooling down in terms of home?
It's just affordability, man. Like there's not enough supply, and then also affordability, because the fact it's not affordable to like buy homes, it's also not affordable to build homes. So it's kind of messing up a lot of developers as well.
Really?
Yeah, man. Especially I heard in New York, it's really, really bad, man. Because a lot of people already had like plans to construct things. Mm-hmm. Like they're going back and forth with contractors and banks, and it's a
back and forth. Why? Because the prices increased.
Yeah, the prices increase of not only materials but labor as well. And so it's like they're going back and forth because cost of living has gone up, so people are getting paid more money, and it's affecting everything. So it's affecting deadlines. It's affecting banks, being able to fund these projects that they already gave them a set budget.
You know, so and you know what I was listening to, I think, Breaking Points. I don't know if you with Cigar and Jetty and Crystal Ball. That's her name apparently. That's her real name, I think. Yeah. And they were saying that landlords, not landlords of big buildings, but landlords of like regular buildings, like 4-plex, 5-plex, 6-plex, 8-plex, whatever.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic happened, they were trying to be slick, and they took loans out on buildings, right? And they took it as adjustable rate mortgages.
Oh no, dude, that's horrible. That sounds like 2008.
But the thing is, I think and correct me if I'm wrong, if you get an adjustable rate mortgage, it's cheaper, right, than standard initially?
Yeah, initially it's usually
like if fixed is 3.1, adjustable might be 2.9 along those lines.
Yeah, but after like 5 years, it starts whatever the market.
Bro, get this.
Yeah.
So 2018, 2019, they took adjustable rate mortgages out for their buildings, right? And then obviously they're doing good, they're making money, they're doing their thing. Then interest rates started going up. So what did they start doing? We got to raise our rents to the market. That's what. So apparently, one of the reasons people were raising their rents, not all the reasons, of course, but every month your mortgage is going higher and higher and higher because of the interest rates keep going up and up and up, and you can't keep increasing the rent on the people like that.
Yeah, you can't.
So now, let's say your interest rate was 2.9. And you're paying $1,000 a month for mortgage, right? Let's say in your building.
Yeah.
Next month now, because their interest rates went up half a point or a quarter point, now you're paying $1,200 or $1,150.
Yeah.
That's
per apartment. Well, not sorry.
Well,
we're talking about $1,200. Yeah.
I'm talking about like the mortgage that you own. Let's say, to keep the number simple. The next month, $1,400. The next month, $1,600, $1,800, $20. From like 2.5% now all the way to almost 8% now.
Yeah.
So think about that. So now these guys are operating so deep in the red, and they can't raise rents anymore.
But that's horrible, because like, knowing them, they should have just refinanced. They could refinance whenever they want. They just have to deal with the closing costs, and that's it.
They probably don't have the money for the closing costs now. I think some of these guys were kind of greedy and took high amounts of risks.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, we'll take an adjustable rate.
Or you could just include the closing costs into the loan as well. You just have to...
To refinance, though, you need a down payment again, right? It's basically like you're buying the house again.
You could put all that into... You have to just find a really good lender. It's hard to find one nowadays, but where you could just include everything into the loan itself. You are right. There has to be a down payment. But if you already have equity in the property, that would be your down payment. You get me? Usually when you do a refinance, if you're doing cash out, you're gonna take out money.
Yeah, maybe they don't have equity in the property or something. Maybe
no. They should have equity in the property unless they did a cash out before.
Maybe they did.
Oh, if they did a cash out before, they're pretty much screwed.
The point is that if they did have equity, or they did everything responsibly, nobody would be talking about this. But the fact of the matter is that they can't keep raising rents up anymore keep pace with the interest rates.
What they can do is just refinance, and then move to a fixed rate, and that's it. You're set at where you're at, but at least you stop the bleeding. You know what I mean?
It seems like they don't have the money. It seems like they might not have the funds to do that.
They're
No, dude. No, it seems like it's really kind of getting serious in a way where it's like, oh snap, we don't have the funds to keep refinancing. We don't have the funds now. We don't have the funds to refinance. There's nothing we could do to to stop the bleeding. And it's gonna get to the point where the banks are gonna be like, yo, whatever,
foreclose.
Foreclose.
Or they could do a
short sale.
Short sale prior to that. Try to save their credit.
You know what's messed up about this? We have this. I'm not saying that this is an easy problem to fix, but this is not like a technologically based issue that our politicians won't be able to understand. This should be pretty straightforward. Rents are too high. What's going on? Let's investigate. The housing now is going to turn into healthcare. It's going to turn into one big mess, bro.
I'm trying to think, how can they even lower rents? Like, that's never happened historically. Rents have always gone up.
So the thing is, right, number one, the one I keep hearing about is that the zoning laws have to change to allow people to build.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Yeah.
So the second thing is, I don't think the government should be in the business of telling people what rent to charge, right? I don't think so. But
oh man, I could get real like
they shouldn't.
gray, man.
No, they shouldn't be telling people how much rent to charge.
The market should decide, but sometimes people. Yeah.
The market's deciding right now. Look what's happening with that. They're going crazy.
Yeah.
But that's fine. So what I would do is it's like pressure building up, right? And imagine a pipe where pressure is building up in terms of housing. And what you do is you remove the zoning laws and you add like an extra, an extra hole in the pipe with another pipeline, right?
Yeah.
To relieve pressure. And I think that extra pipe is the equivalent of remove zoning laws and build more houses. Here's what I think should happen, though. I think the government should partner with contractors to build more houses, right? So that the people can buy houses and pay property taxes on it. More people who own homes, more people who can pay property taxes. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that'll kind of, that's one thing I can think of. That's the only thing I can think of in terms of fixing this issue. It's removing the zoning laws.
Yeah, zoning laws
or
would help.
readjusting them for whatever reason.
Yeah, that would definitely help. I just see that, I don't know, I just see banks coming in and just, or like hedge funds are coming in just
That's
buying
another
all
thing.
that.
They gotta stop that, and they're not going to. It doesn't seem like they're going to.
Yeah, like that I think that's something that would definitely help if they stop the whole monopoly of these huge.
What does a hedge fund need to buy a single family house for? What does a hedge fund need to buy an entire neighborhood for?
They have investors, I guess, that have their money set.
The nefarious thing, if I was a hedge fund, right? Let's say I was a hedge fund and my job was to do this type of stuff, it would make sense, right? To buy entire neighborhoods, right? And just have people just pay rent to me all the time. It's an income of, instead of counting or waiting for investors to give me money so that I can invest in portfolios in like stocks and stuff like that, I'm getting money from the renters all the time, every month, forever. Yeah. I don't have to. You keep doing that enough time, you're always gonna have an influx of money so huge that you can now, like, that combined with the money from investors, you can put it into stuff. You can like sway. You can control like a whole bunch of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're gonna keep doing this because it's just too lucrative not to.
Yeah. So if they could control that, where it's like you can only buy a certain amount of real estate if you are considered a hedge fund.
I don't think hedge funds should be buying real estate. How about
I think they can't stop that, man.
They have to, bro. Something has to happen where it's like, bro, like, no more real estate for you.
Because moving forward, but whatever they have now, they would have to continue keeping it. You know what I mean?
There's precedents for this before. I think they did it to J.P. Morgan where they forced him to break up his oil monopoly and to sell it to other people.
Okay, that could be a solution where you make them offload all the real estate that they have.
Yep.
And then that way that would increase the supply.
Yeah, and if you're a hedge fund, you're not allowed to buy property. Stick to stocks. Stick to manipulating the market. Stick to continuously screwing over
that would make sense. And then at the same time, they would get a profit off what they sold. So
yeah, and stick to screwing over the taxpayers that way. But think about this, right? This should be.
Grant Cardone ain't gonna like this shit.
You know what I like about Grant Cardone and people like him, right? These people are freaking hilarious. They're like, you shouldn't own a home. You shouldn't own a house. Like a single family house is a waste of money. And yeah, whatever, sure. Some people might be like, yeah, that's true. You're not getting.
Yeah, what does it say? Don't own where you live or something like that.
But no. But my contention is they'll be like, some people might be like, yeah, there's no point in owning a single family house. You don't make any money off of it. You might as well rent. Well, you're not making any money from renting either. At least with owning a single family house, you're getting something out of it. You're getting something out of it compared to renting, right?
Yeah.
And then they go ahead.
Well, the way he talks about it to Grant Cardone's defense.
I read his book, Be Average or Be Insane or Be Average.
Yeah. So it's the point of being able to move around. So when you're able to rent, you're able to move around, and sometimes the majority actually times. You save more money renting than actually buying a property because there's so much maintenance that goes into owning a property.
If you live in a hot area, right, where the job markets are abundant,
Yeah.
let's say San Francisco, let's say London, don't you think it'll be beneficial to own a home in that area where you probably won't be moving around because the job opportunities are abundant?
No.
I don't know. There's a difference between owning a house and...
Usually in those areas, there's not even any houses. It's just
But let's say you do own a house there, right? You know what I'm saying? In like London or New York City, if you own like a property in New York City, right?
Okay.
Like a single family house.
Yeah.
The amount of jobs in New York City, I don't think people are gonna move. People move to where there's jobs. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you own like a home, let's say in like I don't know, like Nebraska or South Dakota,
Okay.
you buy a house there,
And you have a job in New York City.
or you don't have you buy a house there and you have one job. It's no,
Yeah.
that I can understand. You might have to move if the job closes down, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
But if you own a property in New York City or in a populated area, if the job moves, you can just get another decent paying job as well because there's a whole bunch of jobs there.
No, but the whole thing is that, like you just said right now, if you're able to move around and you know what I mean, if you find a job somewhere else, you'll be able to move around more quicker and easier if you're renting. You know what I mean? Because if you have a house, you have to sell it.
I suppose that's I understand that argument. It doesn't do it for me though. But I do understand like if you rent, you can move within a year, or after your lease is up, you can move whenever you want. That it depends on what your lifestyle is. If you're constantly moving, I don't know why you would constantly be moving, but again, it depends on your lifestyle. The thing is, right? These guys will say, "Don't own a home. You're better off renting," and then they try to sell you on because you could always move, right? And then you realize they own apartment buildings. It's not that they don't want you to own a home. They want you, and that you should rent because it's easy to move. They want you to rent because they want more renters. They want to sell the idea of renting to people.
Not really.
I think they do. These guys own like 4 properties or 4 apartment buildings or 4 complexes, and they make money off renters.
I agree with that, but I disagree as well because like if you read exactly what he says, it's like you should be able to rent where you live, and the reason behind that is because you're able to move. But he also encouraged you to buy real estate. You get me? So basically, when you're if you're an investor and you're buying multiple properties, right? And you don't have to worry about your house or where you're living in, right? With expenses of maintenance and all that stuff, it gives you more money to actually invest versus actually owning a property where you have to like worry about that property that you live in. You're responsible for everything in that property that you live in. You get me? So basically, your home is no longer a liability where you live in, and you have extra income to buy assets. You get me?
Okay, I mean, I see that.
But if you're just renting and you're not investing your money, then it's horrible.
But the thing is, like, if you own a home and you're living every month net zeroing your home, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I can see why owning a single family house is not a good idea, right? If you own a multi-family house, yeah, fine, you're good, you're Gucci, you have an investment.
Yeah.
If you own a single family home, but the payments are so small or so okay that you're fine, right? Instead of renting and you're building equity that you can pull out when you sell, I think that's good. I don't think the idea of not owning a home, I don't think it's not a good idea to not own a home if you're not planning on moving for the next like 10 years. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whether it's, full disclaimer, I own a home, right? So,
I think it's just the audience he's catering to is just people that hopefully are, and just investors, man. People that are not set in one place.
yeah, I understand that.
But most people that listen to him are probably, family men that, they just want to stay in one place, raise a family, get married, and have children and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I get that. There's just something about people who make money off renting trying to dissuade people from owning a single family house.
I think they're just not very specific.
And they're trying to encourage them to rent instead.
Yeah.
But to be fair to Grant Cardone, I think when he bought in his book, Be Insane or Be Average, I think that's what it's called. He did say one of his first homes that he bought was a 2-family house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was like, oh wow, I can make money off of this, and then that's how he started getting into real estate and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think for the majority of his life, he was renting where he was living because he was able to move around and invest in different areas
Again, yeah, I can
while
understand that.
simultaneously, yeah, owning properties.
Yeah, no, I can understand that, and I think like if I get to buy other properties, I'm definitely gonna buy. I'm not gonna buy like a single family home as an investment property.
Yeah.
I will buy one as a place to live in, especially given what my circumstances are or what anybody's circumstances are. But the next property that I buy is definitely gonna be an investment property, like a multi-family house or a building or whatever. If I could even do that. But I would never dissuade somebody from not buying a home, especially if you take in a good inventory of your life and your life circumstances and what can happen and what you're planning on doing. I think owning is better than renting. Like the last apartment that I was living in, I was living there for like 5 years, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine the equity I would have been able to build up at that from 5 years. Then you could have pulled that equity out if you wanted to. Some of that equity, plus whatever it was that you had saved up, and you buy your next investment property. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that would have been and then you keep rolling it over and rolling, and before you know it, you start building houses off of that.
So what I don't like, I mean, I do like this and I don't like it.
You don't like HELOCs, bro?
No, well, that's another situation. So what Grant Cardone does, he has a kind of like a syndicate thing where it's like, he pulls in money from everyone and he buys the real estate. And him and his investors.
Isn't that what they were trying
it.
to do in New Jersey with the DJ guy?
Yeah. They were trying to do syndicate. They opened an app and all this other shit. And I think I don't know if it failed or not. But yeah, I heard about that. And I heard that there was like a lot of people upset about not getting their money back and just going back and forth. But I did hear about that.
I'm sorry, I took you off track with the whole Grant Cardone.
Yeah, back to Grant Cardone.
Sorry about that.
So he has this this fund where he goes out there and he's like, hey, do you want to return on your money? If you want, you could. He also like he encourages people to take a loan, not a loan, but to like tap into their 401ks. And
let's revisit that. But keep going. Let's revisit that.
Yeah. The 401k tap in thing.
Yeah.
So he has this whole like movement now where he's like, hey, instead of having your money there, you could tap into it. And so what he does is that he buys real estate with all the money that he acquires from his investors, and then he buys it and gives them like a small percentage back. And depending on how much monthly, I think it's monthly. So depending on how much money you put up, the more you make, right?
That makes sense.
Versus like actually buying the real estate yourself and then having actual ownership on that entity. You know what I mean?
Right, but. Is that it? Because I want to revisit the
and
I want to revisit what you just said.
So I don't like that thing. Like I would like to be the owner of it. You know what I mean, of the actual fund. But like
let me ask
the whole idea, it's like they're losing out. The investors, if they actually put in the work, the sweat equity, then they would actually have a higher rate on their.
Let me give you the scenario. Let's say
investment.
You have the choice of being an owner, but you're making. Let's say an example. Let's say you have the chance of being an owner, but you don't have enough capital, right? And as a result, you can only invest minimally. And as a result, let's say an example, you only get $200 a month, but you're the owner, but you only get $200 a month, and so everything that happens is on you also, right? But let's say you're part of a big group like the syndicate of Grant Cardone, right? And the same amount that you put there, right, gets added to a much bigger pot, which gives much more working capital. And I don't even know if I'm correct in this assessment, but you have more working capital. You can buy the owner of the syndicate can now buy a bigger property. Now instead of you getting $200 a month with that money you put down, you're getting $500 a month with that money you put down.
I don't know it would work if it worked that way. I would think that you would make more money in the investment
ownership. Ownership.
Yeah, you would make way more money. I would say, unless you put way more money into the syndicate, so it could like even out.
Well, whatever the case is, I thought maybe like your money would go a lot further.
No.
Pool.
But you would have a higher risk, right? It's all about risk. How much risk can you take? And so if you're not willing to take the risk and put in the work, you just put in your money and make someone else do the work.
Yeah, and you get a little bit more, not even a little bit more.
No.
Okay. I guess I was wrong on that. Okay.
If that was the case, then no one would go that route.
Well, no, because some people they were like, no, I have a lot of money. I could do it myself versus I don't have that much
Well,
money.
I'll tell you this. It depends where you're investing too. Because if you're investing in the Midwest where rents are like in the hundreds,
Yeah.
you might as well just take your money somewhere else. And yeah, you could most likely maybe get a higher return on your cash versus like if you're dealing with real estate in the Northeast or, I mean, Cali's a mess, but still rents are high.
Yeah.
And if you're dealing with that market, then you might as well just deal with the Northeast and the West Coast. But then you're gonna have to deal with issues that come with that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was just curious what your thoughts were on Seoul versus.
Yeah, it depends where you're at. Yeah, it depends if you're in a place where the rents are low and your cash flow is always going to be low because it's going to require you to acquire several properties to make up for that gain. Then I think it is worth just putting your money in a fund where they look for investments maybe in a better location. They do all the heavy lifting, and then you just get a little check at the end of the month. So I guess you have to just run the numbers and say, okay, cool.
Yeah,
so
what I'm
if I
saying.
live here in this area, I know that the market here is not that great. I'm never going to get a huge return unless I acquire multiple properties. I'm just going to go online, sign up, and boom, put my money in there, and then just make them do, the
And you're gonna get
do the work
either
and
the
stuff.
same amount or a little bit more than you would have if you would have invested in the local area.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get at. Like,
Yeah, you just have to look at how much. I haven't really looked into. Yeah, I could already imagine Greg Cardone listening to this. Oh yeah, you're right. You didn't do your research, but like I haven't had enough time to like look into his stuff to know like what the numbers are because
Yeah.
I know he in his website he does have like, hey, we're about to buy this property. And if you're part of the syndicate group, you can invest this much, and this will be your return and stuff.
so how much is he asking to invest?
I don't know. I've just seen he has like a presentation where he lets you know where your money's going and what might be like a projection of your profit, but it's not always going to be right. You know,
Of
what I mean?
course, yeah.
Things fluctuate up and down.
Yeah, and
they
there's
can
al-
see as well. So
and you're giving up some control when you part of that.
oh, I think it's complete control you give up because you're not really there.
But you get to vote though, right? You don't get to vote on certain things.
I don't know.
Because even when you own stocks, you get investment.
Yeah,
to
maybe
vote.
you do it depending on how much money you put up, but.
Damn, bro, we really don't know. We really don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Jaycast podcast,
This
baby.
is gonna be someone out there like, yo, I'm making millions off of Grant Cardone, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really hear much of those people though, do you? Do you? Like,
You know
yeah,
what? Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of people saying, oh, this guy's a scammer.
I haven't heard that either. I heard a little bit more about that than, I invested in Grant Cardone and I'm making this much money a month and this is how he did it. Have you heard about that?
I haven't heard scamming or I haven't heard, I've made this amount of money with him.
Haven't heard either, right? You would
So
think.
maybe he's, damn, I have to look more into this. Maybe he's more transparent where it's like you're gonna
know
make this
what?
amount of money. You're like, damn, you know what? I am making this amount of money, but it's not life changing. So I'm not even gonna talk about it. And
No,
it's not a
that's true,
scam, so I'm not gonna talk about that
Oh,
either.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just in between. I'm making $200 a month. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
And I put 10K or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
So he told me I was gonna make 200. So what I'm gonna say is he's not scamming me, but it's not life changing. So
I'm not gonna go on Dr. Phil and talk about. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that's true. I want to circle back to the 401k, pulling out of your 401k. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, I was actually thinking about this, and I did a little bit of math on it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of like financial influencers out there that talk about this. Not only Grant Cardone.
Before you go on, really quickly, for those of you guys who don't know, employee-sponsored 401k is a savings / investment options in which your money some money gets taken out of your check before taxes due and gets put into a fund that an employer hopefully matches, and it grows over time. Okay, and you can only pull it out when you're in retirement, or you could borrow from it, or you could actually pull out from it. But when you pull out from it, there's penalties. You got to pay taxes on it. The highest amount of taxes.
Well,
in
it
your
depends.
bracket.
You could borrow from it tax free if it's your first.
That's what I said. Yeah, you can borrow from it.
First.
You can borrow from it. When you borrow from it, you don't get taxed.
No,
on
no,
it.
it's not even borrowed. You could take your money out.
Really.
You could take your money out of it, tax free, if it's your first time buying a home. So that's another way.
Oh, okay.
So
That makes
So
sense.
they
Okay.
do have programs. So if you're a first time home buyer, they allow you to tap in, take the money out tax free, and that's basically it.
Now, I want you guys to put yourself in a position where you had a 401k since you were 21, and now you're 40, and now your 401k, let's say, is worth like 200k, 300k maybe. what would you do? Would you borrow from that to buy a property?
Depends on the market. I'll tell you what I would do.
Jaycast podcast here and now. What would you do, Jay?
This is exactly what I would do. It depends on the market, man.
You got $300K racked up.
It depends on the market. If the interest rates are low, I'll take all of it out, man,
Really?
and I'll go on a buying spree. Yes,
Really?
because I know I could break up and divide that $300K and buy multiple properties, and I'll get my return on investment way faster and higher than I would ever get it waiting 25 years or 20 years or until retirement age.
So would you pull it out, or would you borrow from it, buy property, rent it out, and then pay what you owe there?
Oh wait, I forgot.
Or would you just pull it out completely?
I would pull it out and pay the penalty, which I think is 10%. I think it's 10% or 20%, something like that.
So you'd pay, let's say, worst case scenario, you'd pay $60K and end up with $240K, and then just go on a buying spree.
Yeah. Because I know I would get my money back quick.
And I guess.
Well, not quick. Well, I would get it back maybe like depending on the market. If you
don't gotta wait till you retire to start getting money.
Of course,
that's what you're saying.
You'll make your money work, and not only that, you're getting.
Oh, by the way, this is not financial advice. We're not encouraging people to do that, guys. This is
hell no. Right now in this market, you shouldn't be touching your 401k at all.
This is not financial advice. We're not encouraging you to do that. Jay is specifically saying what he would specifically do himself by himself, not encouraging anybody to do that.
There's gonna be someone out there, man.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. Let's say you have $1 million by the time you retire, right? Which is actually pretty realistic. If you put money in your 401k since you're 20, even since you're 30, you have $1 million. Yeah. You're saying that you would take even maybe all of it, buy multiple properties, and then just have that money come in forever.
$1 million in like 30 years or 25 years or even 10 years is nothing. Well, it's not a lot if you think about it, especially with the cost of living going up.
And let's put things in perspective for you people. Basically, if you have money in your 401k, when you retire, you'll be pulling money out of that 401k, but you're not putting money into the 401k anymore. So you're pulling it out of a finite resources. And some people can say, yeah, but it's getting dividends. That's good. Obviously, the more money you have, the higher the dividends pay. Versus you take that $1 million and you buy, let's say, 2 or 3 properties. You have renters on it, and you have money coming in there forever. Well, assuming they keep paying rent forever. It's a tree that keeps growing money versus a pond that you're pulling water from. That's a finite resource. And I guess correct me if I'm wrong.
And the equity is also growing.
Exactly, the equity is also growing there. You could, if something happens, you can sell one of them, or you can pull out some equity from the house and get another house if you want to. And instead of letting your 401k or your retirement be held at the whims of the market condition, now you have renters paying, or you're making money off the property that you buy forever, and you could pass that on to your kids. They could sell it. They could do whatever. Is that basically what you're saying for the most part?
Yeah, but it's just 401k is a scam, man, and it's a scam because they're not transparent. If they just
this is Jay's thoughts. Please don't come after us. I don't think it's a scam. I do think it's good because I think taxes are a bigger scam.
But they're not transparent, man. They have to tell you straight up, like, yeah, look, you'll get $1 million, but if you do this instead, you would make like $30 million.
I do think like
it's a scam. They lie to you and they say, no, you're gonna make more money than if you would have risked it.
I'll tell you this. I think taxes are also a scam, the way they manage taxes. So you have 2 scams. You have the 401k scam, and then you have the government tax scam.
Well, again, because they don't utilize the taxes
correctly, right?
Correctly, or you know what I mean? They say we're going to use it for this, and they don't. So it's
at least with the 401k. And yes, from what you guys, I'm defending 401ks. I think they're good. I don't think they're complete scams, but I kind of understand Jay's point of view here. But I'll say this: you have 2 scams, right? You have the government taxing scam, not because they don't use that money, but they don't appropriate it correctly or the way you'd like to see it appropriated. Versus the 401k scam, at least with the 401k scam, you still get some money that's yours. With the taxes, you don't even know if you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
You're getting less of your money's worth probably with taxes than you are with your 401k. Not only that, but you can't pull out of whatever you put into taxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think just having complete control of your money is the best way to go.
I agree. So, and I will say this, I do agree with the whole notion of pulling money out of your 401k.
Yeah.
Myself, only me, I agree with what you say about in the future, pulling money out of your 401k, buying maybe 1 or 2 properties that generate money every month forever. You know what I mean? As long as you continue to rent it or whatever, forever, versus letting your money sit there at the whims of the market, and you don't know what happens to your 401k. Market conditions can eat 30% of it.
Yeah.
And now you have to wait a couple of years.
I think that happened during like 2021.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from, and in fact, I kind of do like that. So if you have a 401k and you're like 40, 45, and it's worth like 750k, it might not be me. I'm saying this based on what you told me. I think personally, me, not the Jcast, but just me, might be a good idea for you to even pull out 300, 400k. You get yourself like a building or whatever, and it generates. And let's say you pay it cash, and
Yeah.
you're charging $2,500 of rent depending on where you live. You're making $5,000 a month forever.
Yeah.
I know my aunt did something like that.
Uh,
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna. She left to her home country.
yeah.
She borrowed money from her home country,
Yeah.
and I think she bet against her own house in her own country, right? She took that money, she brought it back to the States, and she bought a house here.
She didn't pay taxes. I mean, we sorry.
Well,
Continue.
well, I think she borrowed. She just borrowed.
She
It's
used it as
money.
collateral then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then she came over here, right? And she bought a property here, cash, away from the jurisdiction of the third world country.
Yeah.
And now she's renting that house out. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
something happens and she's like, oh, the banks want to take my house in the country that I live in, fine, whatever. I don't care. My kids don't even go there. My kids don't even live there. I don't care. So
That's just it's a limitation to that. It limits you can't scale up from there. You know what I mean?
yeah, I don't know like what her plan was. All I can tell you is that she's pretty much retired. That's just one house.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one house. She only owns one house cash, and she's renting it out to like 4 people, I think, or 5 people. And she's making
Yeah, the IRS is gonna come after that. Nah, I'm just kidding.
no. I mean, no. She
Nah,
pays her taxes. She pays her taxes.
It was a unique, strategic, legal way to do things.
Yeah.
So
Would I recommend that? I wouldn't recommend that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, but did it work out for her? Did she do her thing? And now she's
yeah,
making.
that's what's
some
crazy,
money?
man. Like you could
There's so many like ways.
yeah, you just could build a deal and then just
But
like
that
get things
401k
done.
thing, that 401k thing, I think it's a good idea, especially since that's money that if you didn't put it in your 401k, you were gonna get taxed on it anyways when you think about it.
Yeah.
So you're better off putting it in your 401k and then pulling it out in the future and then buying a property.
Yeah. Also, in the future, you have to look at it this way, man. You're gonna be older. You might hopefully your health might be. You just never know what might happen, right? You might be in a point where it's like that 1 million means nothing because like maybe you're sick or someone in your family's sick, and so if you have something that keeps replenishing over and over again versus like, oh, I took out the money that I accumulated over the years, now it's gone. You know, it's not the best route to just waste time and effort putting money in a
A finite thing. when you
yeah,
think about
finite
it.
thing. Yeah, so it's better to like just convert your cash into something that generates more cash, man. Just
Yeah. So basically, cash is the. I guess cash is like, and I could be wrong for saying this, but cash might be the lowest form of wealth compared to like property ownership.
I don't even consider it wealth.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still use it to buy stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You can still
yeah.
use it to make your life easier because you buy stuff, but it might be the lowest form of wealth, like compared to like owning stuff that actually has intrinsic value, property, stocks, or I don't even know, stocks is the second lowest form
Yeah.
of wealth. I don't know. But when you own like actual properties, when you invest in yourself, now you're a walking, talking tower of knowledge. You know what I mean? You have skills. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you speak multiple languages, you can be a translator. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a form of wealth because you can use that to generate more, more
Yeah.
wealth.
But yeah, if the market goes, if the interest rates go down, if there's more supply in the market,
Interest rates are not going to go down anytime soon. I don't think so.
probably in 10 years. So
Yeah, and
if that happens, I'm definitely going to tap in, pay the penalty, take all the money out of my 401k and go nuts.
yeah, no, I think you might not be. I think, you
Or
might not be-
or maybe I'll just do it in increments of 25%. So I'll take 25% out, risk that, see how long it takes me to get my return on that. Do some sort of strategic plan where I'm okay, I have everything set up. It worked for me. The market seems like it's stable. It's still in the same. It's going
Man,
the
you
same way,
imagine
and then
you buy a jacked up house for like 200k. The foundation, the plumbing, and the electrical are good.
Yeah.
And you just put in like 200k and you make it beautiful, and now you can rent it out for a high amount of money.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the thing is also one thing I've learned is I no longer. I mean, me personally, I no longer fear seeing that good debt go up. You know what I mean?
I learned that from Kiyosaki, from the Rich
Yeah.
Dad Poor Dad.
So like, there's people that freak out and they're like, they want to pay cash for things. Me, it comes to a point where I don't even care anymore if I ever get to pay anything off at this point.
I learned that from Miyazaki.
Oh,
too,
really?
Yeah, because
it's all about mindset.
No,
dude.
go ahead. I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
So once you have this mindset, you take higher risk, right? It's all about mindset, because once you change your mindset, you look at things different, right? Like someone who, I don't know, even a water bottle, right? If you're someone who actually works in a water plant that creates the water bottle, you look at it differently, because you're like, yo, I know exactly how that's made, versus someone that just goes to the store and just buys the water bottle and it's done and made, and you're like, you just drink it, you don't care, right?
So I was looking at the whole thing with debt is like, if you have a debt of $1 million, right?
Yeah.
A good debt of $1 million, right? And to service that debt, you got to pay, let's say, like $5,000 a month, right? But you're generating $15,000 a month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you never pay off that debt. That 10K is yours forever.
Exactly.
Not only that 10K is yours, and you can use that for other stuff. And if you create another LLC, the LLC that has that debt, that's that problem. That's that LLC's problem. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's that LLC's problem.
Yeah.
You have another LLC that you funded with the money that you generated from LLC 1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like now I realize that if the debt that you have, and we are not encouraging people to get into debt for no reason, blah, 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 disclaimer.
Yeah, none of that consumer debt, man.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. Like, if the debt that you have generates you more than what it costs to service that debt, that's what you can consider good debt.
yeah.
You owe $1 million, and to service it, it costs you $5,000, but you're getting $10,000 a month, $10,000 that you would not have had you not had that $1 million worth of debt. That can be considered good debt, because it's that money that you borrowed is generating you money now, and it's generating you more money than what it cost you to borrow that money and to service that money in the first place.
Yeah.
That when I realized that, I'm like, wait a minute, you don't even gotta pay this off.
Yeah.
You can use this money if you want to. You could use the money if you wanted to pay it off. I mean, maybe some people will do that, or you can use this money now for something unrelated to the debt. And that's when people talk about, oh, this company declared one of his companies declared bankruptcy. Like, yeah, but you don't know how much money that company generated for him, where all his other companies are now thriving.
Yeah.
One company being sacrificed for the well-being of like 5 other companies as a result. I wouldn't call that
A loss.
Yeah.
Or a dumb business deal or businessman.
When people talk about bankruptcies, I don't look at bankruptcies from businessmen anymore the way I used to, where it's like, oh, bankruptcy, he's done. I look at it as like, oh, he might be pulling a strategic move.
Yeah.
Remember when Hertz went bankrupt? Gee, Hertz is still around.
Yeah.
Was it Hertz or was it?
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
another company. It was like a car rental company. It wasn't.
Wait. Actually, yeah.
It wasn't. I don't know.
Was it Enterprise or Hertz? One of the two.
It wasn't Enterprise. It wasn't Enterprise. It wasn't Budget. I think
It was
might
one of
have
the
been
car
Hertz.
rental ones, right?
I think it might have. I keep thinking of the electric symbol. I think it might have been Hertz.
Probably, yeah.
But that's the way I look at it, man. And now, it's pretty cool, man. Like
Because there's also different bankruptcy declarations. There's one where you restructure.
Right. There's a whole bunch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, there's just different kinds of strategic ways to like do business.
Well, you would get in trouble though, like if the bank calls your loans, right?
Oh yeah. So
that's something we didn't talk about.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I mean, if you do things behind the lender's back,
they'll be like, "Give us our money right now."
Yeah. So you have to
or sell.
Yeah. So a lot of people, most banks, they don't like it when a person puts their assets under LLCs. So I mean, based on my experience,
why not? Why not?
Because it's a higher risk. You're able to declare bankruptcy, and they can't actually go after an individual person. You get me?
Okay.
So,
and so before you want to just, and if you put it under an LLC, does that incur a higher interest rate as a result for them to cover like their risks?
No. Whatever the market interest rate is what they'll give you, and depending on the credit of the business. So that's why it's good to have at least 5 years under your business that's actually generating money. So you gotta actually show the bank, hey, look, I have 5 years. Here are my annual reports and it's how much my business has been generating. I want to transfer this loan from my personal loan to a LLC, and then they'll see, they'll review it. Some banks won't allow you, but most banks you could work with them. Say, hey, look, I've been paying you a mortgage for this amount or whatever, and you could just transfer it over to LLC.
Don't if the banks feel like it's risky, doesn't that give them an excuse to raise the interest rates?
What you mean?
Like if the bank say if you put this under LLC, it's more risk because you can declare bankruptcy and they can't come after you. Now, in order for us to take on that risk, we want a bigger reward. So we want a reward in the form of charging you higher interest rates.
Well, it depends. Again, if your credit score, if your business credit score is low, then you're going to be a high risk and they'll give you a bad interest rate.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
It's the same thing as a personal loan. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
So whatever is the best interest rate for a LLC at that point, they'll give you that depending on your business credit.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah, that's what it's always good to open an LLC, even if you're not generating money, just to build the credit. Just get a business credit card, a business bank account, link it together, and just like start doing transactions.
So one last thing before we change topics here. This is some interesting topics, and if you guys want to hear more about this stuff, let us know. We're more than happy to talk about it with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, do you agree with me, Jay, that the way you should structure your wealth is properties first?
Yeah.
Followed by stock market investments, right? Or no? Followed by you investing in yourself, like in your skills and whatever, that you can go ahead and sell in the market. Followed by owning stocks and mutual funds. Followed by owning cash. Is that a good order, or what would you change?
No, I would change. The first thing, depending on where you are in life, right? If you're somebody that already has capital, you inherited money, you're at a different point versus someone that...
not to cut you off, I'm saying, what should people aim for, basically?
The average person...
Like, what should be, even if you don't have nothing, what should be your aim in a perfect world?
Your main goal in the hierarchy of trying to acquire wealth before you even get to real estate stocks or any of these things is yourself. You invest in yourself and you also pay yourself first. So how do you pay yourself? I
was gonna ask, what is the concept of that? Doesn't mean just here you go, here's money, go spend it on shiny stuff, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So, damn, there's a lot of books I've read, man, where they all kind of say the same thing. The way you pay yourself first, one of the mechanisms I know I talked about the 401k, and then if the market's doing well, tap into it and pay the penalty and invest your money.
So paying yourself is basically take the money and buy investments. That's a form of paying yourself.
Pay yourself first means you would get the money before the man does. And you know who the man is, the tax man.
Right.
So you would take the money out before it gets taxed into a 401k. That's one of the ways you pay yourself first. Now, a different way you can also pay yourself first is, like you said, buy investments. But the first way would be with your 401k or
pre-tax.
Yeah, pre-tax. Any fund, because there's a lot of funds that are out there. Again, I'm not a financial,
And before
expert.
you go on, because I know there are going to be some people out here saying, "Oh, see, Jay is pro 401k." After he said, "Don't get 401k." The context of putting the money in the 401k before you get taxed, we could all agree that you'd rather have money in the 401k, even though Jay doesn't fully agree with it, than letting it get taxed by the man. That's just kind of like common sense.
Yeah. So
before anybody starts trying to,
you always want to push taxes to the future, not in all things, but in most things. So you keep pushing the tax forward, right? Mm-hmm. So you do that first. That's why it's considered paying yourself first, because before anyone touches that money, it goes to a fund that is specified to you. Of course, there's other funds out there. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not a professional, finance person.
This is not financial advice, by the way.
So once you pay yourself first, right? You have that in a 401k fund. Now the next thing you want to do is invest in yourself, right? You want to make yourself marketable with your skill set, right? This is again assuming you don't have money, don't have wealth. You're started from zero, from nowhere.
And it doesn't have to be nothing cool. It could be become a contractor.
Yeah,
that's a valuable skill.
And another thing is that there's this whole concept out there that people I think have understood is that I guess maybe I'm a little harsh on myself, but the whole thing about finding something that you love, right? Let's just say I love cleaning, right? Is cleaning really gonna make you financially free? Like, you know what I mean?
It depends, really.
Or you can start your business,
Yeah. You start your business, you hire people before you know it.
But I think you have to look at the market and see what's on demand, right? And that's with anything. Like,
what do you use on a day-to-day? That's the place that I would start.
Yeah, what service can you provide that's valuable and that the market sees as valuable? So once you do that and you become really, really good at it, and you become at a professional level where you're making a certain amount of money that you have extra income, then you could invest in assets. But also another thing that I advise is to live below your means. Yeah, because what people do is that they start increasing their lifestyle as they start increasing their income,
So
and
what you're saying
they never
is,
see the profit.
so what you're saying is I should not cop that drop top Sadies.
Yeah,
2024.
or that Gucci bag, or which,
What would the haters say though if I didn't do that?
or like ice out your watch, and which is actually depreciating that watch. Oh, the haters, man! The haters are always gonna hate, man.
I'm joking. No, but this some good stuff, guys. Let us know if you guys want to hear more about this stuff. We can talk about this all day, actually.
Yeah.
Politics aside, I love talking about just building, whether that's building in tech, building homes, building wealth. I love talking about that stuff.
But yeah, so once you acquire the assets and you start generating money, now you get to a place, I would say for most people, is where you want to give back, right? So basically, like right now, like I'm giving back in a way where, I mean, to be honest, this information is free. There's millions of books out there, leadership books and all this stuff talking about the same stuff. The only thing is that me and Jay, you know, we're not charging you for this,
and we're not experts. And we're not experts. And
the only thing we ask is for a like and to subscribe.
That's even more free,
and
less work than sitting in this place doing a podcast.
But yeah, just give back. Giving back is key, because not only does it build relationships, it could help you out in the future, right? Unfortunately, the way I've seen humans are, right, we get older, and it's really hard to keep up with the current information that's going on and the way things work. So always helping those in need and giving back to the youth really helps you, because what ends up happening is it's just weird the way the world works, right? That person that you helped out, you know, in the future might come back and help you out, or, you know.
But even if they don't help you out, the world is a better place when people are on their purpose.
Yeah,
and doing their thing.
And then
assuming your purpose is not to do something.
And I was going to end it at exactly what you just said right now. It's a better place, which means you leave a legacy. Yeah. So legacy is like the last thing for me.
And like I said, man, even if you don't leave a legacy, even if your name is not attached to anything that somebody that you've helped in the past does, the world is a better place. And that right
well,
there,
that's leaving a legacy, even though it's not like
your name is not attached to
like
it.
Everyone knows about it.
Yeah, you might not have like a school name after you, like Vanderbilt or something like that, but the end of the day is the world is a better place, and that might be worth it. But you know, not to get all preachy and stuff. People say they want to make the world a better place and they want to help people. The way you help people the best first is by helping yourself. Be the best version of yourself that you can be first.
Yeah.
And that way you have more to offer to people, so yeah, you can help them. I'm gonna end the podcast. I'm gonna end the podcast on that. What do you think?
No, I agree 100%, and I just I hope politically, financially, and just overall, you know, spiritually, hopefully this country gets better.
All right, guys.
Peace.